Football then and now, a fun look at football nostalgia and the modern game intertwined. Join us.
Well, this is episode 52. It's Wednesday, the 23rd of April, St. George's Day for our English followers, listeners, and viewers, of course. And I've got returning guest, Aston Villa fan Brady Barlow, wearing the Villa shirt, of course. Just before we hit the topics, last night's game, just how did you feel with that late goal, mate? Just a kick in the balls right at the end for Villa and the Villa fans.
Yeah, I think we deserved something out of it for the gameplay. Hitting the post after 18 seconds off Rashford. The way that we played against them, but City is City. We've seen it time and time again over the years. This half of the season, they pick points up. They get doggy. They play for every point, and this season they have to play for every point because they're not running away with it like they usually would do. They've got Forest, us, Newcastle, Chelsea, all biting at their heels. So I think they showed a bit of grit and determination last night against us. They had to. I was coming back off the back of the PSG win last week and then Newcastle on the weekend. I think they had to show something different. I mean, they struggled for a lot of it against you lot on the weekend. But silly little substitution. Probably would have been different for you guys if Tarkowski hadn't gone off.
Well, the expected goals jumped, didn't it? As soon as he went off, it went to over 2, which is crazy. But again, you know, Moyes is the manager at the end of the day, makes the calls, but I would have moved O'Brien into centre back and had Patterson at right back. But O'Brien has played so well as the right back. You can kind of understand why he did what he did. But Michael Keane's cop for it. But again, you know, you've got to rise and fall together. I'm afraid that's all.
Yeah.
That's all that can happen, really, Brady. But City have won the last 3 league games. You know, hammered Palace 5-2. They've beaten us 2-0. 2-1 against you guys last night. So they're really pushing, and as you said off camera, it's looking like they might get third ahead of Forest.
Yeah, Forest. I mean, we've been talking about it off camera and everything. Forest, they've had a hell of a season. You can't take anything away from them, but I think things are just start. I mean, the game against us the other week, and just they seem to be just dropping points where at the start of the season they were just nicking points off everyone, getting the wins and playing some really attractive football. Where I don't know if it's because they've played such a high tempo for most of the season, it's starting to get to them with wear and tear and tiredness. But I think they'll get European football. I can't see them at the moment getting top 4, top 5 with the way that us and Newcastle are playing at the moment. Obviously, us beating Newcastle on the weekend and City beating us last night. Everybody's still in with a chance, but the run-ins are going to make or break it, really,
Absolutely.
for all of us.
The exciting bit of the league, isn't it? Of course, Liverpool could, if Arsenal lose tonight to Palace, of course, Liverpool could be crowned champions. If not, if they beat Spurs on the weekend, they will be champions. But again, you know, it's up to Arsenal tonight. See if they can push it to another game into the weekend until Liverpool are obviously crowned champions. But again, it's just you're lot there. You're still in it, mate. You're still in it. Going back to Villa, absolutely. Yeah. All of you are still pushing for the third, fourth, and fifth.
Yeah, I mean the permutations for European football across all the different types of European football. It's absolutely ridiculous. It drops all the way down to, I think it's like 9th altogether. It's like, so anybody in the top 9 can finish in any of the European cups. Apart from there was one permutation where the Conference League wouldn't come into it. So nobody's guaranteed a spot in anything yet, but I think the top 7 are breaking away from the rest now. There's too much of a gap for the rest to sort of catch up. So it's between the top 7 for who finishes in the Champions League, who goes into the Europa League, I think. I mean, even if we finish in the Europa League spot, it's still a good season for us, I think. A lot of Villa fans would say it's not. I think it is.
You've been across everything, and it's the quarterfinals of the Champions League. You can't. I think they've been fantastic, mate. And then you got the semi-final yet, which we'll get to later, of course. But they've been going on all fronts, Brady. And as we've alluded to various times as we've gone, through the episodes, it's just he strengthened that squad. He strengthened the squad in January. He's had the best window, and people want to play for that man, don't they? There's no two ways about it.
No, I mean we've had a lot of injuries, and we've played a lot, brought a lot of the youngsters through, which is good because he's looking at youngsters for the future because he doesn't want to go out and spend ridiculous money on some players. So it's good getting them some game time or just being around the senior squad. And I just think he runs the club the way that he wants to. He's not forced into things like you see other managers or coaches, because you rarely get a manager anymore. It's a coach. They're not allowed to do what they want to do and look at players that they want to look at. It's always the sporting director or whoever at the club have a list of players that they want, and that's it. But yeah, I think the signings that we got in January, it sounds like Asensio wants to stay at Villa, and it's up to Rashford really whether he wants to stay or if he wants to go back to United and try there, or if he wants to go try somewhere else. We've given him the game time. We've given him the lift that he needed. So it's up to him at the end of the day. I mean, he's done brilliant since he's come in for us. Completely different to what he did for United over the past 18 months. He's playing with a smile on his face. And is that because he's getting the game time and he's enjoying the football again? Or is that because he's got a manager like Emery who's put his arm around him and said, look, go show me what you can do. But he does that with a lot of players. He builds a lot of players up. Because when we sold Dougie in the summer, Dougie Louise, people are saying, the Villa fans were like, oh, we're not going to be able to replace him. We'll never be able to. And you look at Tielemans. He's just come in. He's been banging in the assists. He's been chipping in with goals here and there, putting in solid performances week in, week out. And he's just been going under the radar. And you look at our midfield, Kamara, Tielemans, and John McGinn. For those 3 players, cost £2.5 million, and that's it. So it just shows you don't have to go out and spend hundreds of millions of pounds on players when there are players in the free transfer market. You just have to give them the confidence that they're going to get the game time and things that they need to play.
Definitely. I just think you're far more positive, like you say, than some of them. They've been brilliant. They've been absolutely fantastic. To think where you were and where you are now and what he's managed to do, it's been brilliant to see. As we've said various times, we really have the Villa have probably been a lot of people's second team, haven't they? Especially in Europe. Everyone's wanted Villa to do well, but we've got a comment. The Unholy Trinity Everton podcast, of course. Mr. Mike Richards in the comments. Up the toffees, yes, indeed. An away trip to Chelsea. We may get to that. We're going to pick a select few of the Premier League games on the weekend. Of course, at 12:30 on Saturday for us down at Stamford Bridge. And this evening, we alluded to it briefly. We've got Arsenal versus Crystal Palace tonight. If Palace beat Arsenal this evening, the title will go to Liverpool tonight. I know Palace haven't won away, or they've got one away win there. I think 2019 in the last 31 years where they beat Arsenal 3-2. So it's not a happy hunting ground at Highbury previously and the Emirates for Palace. But we go into it. Palace, they've looked a bit shaky at times in the last few games, haven't they? Obviously, City put them to the sword, as can happen to anyone in the Premier League. Look at Newcastle against you guys. Obviously, the 4-1 win as well. But yeah, just what do you think? How do you think this one will go this evening?
I can't see anything but a win for Arsenal. I think with Saka back now, they've looked different with Saka back, and I just can't see Palace doing it. I think I don't think it's going to be a hammering. I think it'll be, if I had to put a bet on it, I'd go 3-1 Arsenal. Saka to get at least one. But Arsenal, they've just gone from strength to strength. I mean, they proved that in the Champions League against Real Madrid. But I just can't see Palace doing it at Arsenal as well.
Mateta's due for some goals again as well, isn't he? He's not. Yeah. It's not. He's had a few games where he hasn't scored, so he'll be jumping at the bit. We always say about him. As Bukayo Saka will be fit. Obviously, he came off on the weekend, didn't he, against Ipswich? Yeah. So obviously he's just. Arteta's basically said it's nothing too serious, which is huge for them. But again, he's going to have one eye on the Champions League as well, isn't he? You know.
Yeah. So they've got a really tough game against PSG coming up. Next Tuesday, I think it is. Yeah, I think they're Tuesday, and then the other game's Wednesday. But yeah, I think even though he's got his eye on it, I think he's gonna still try and go for it.
Absolutely.
But is he going to think, well, either way, if we win tonight, Liverpool win on the weekend, Liverpool still win the title? Is he going to maybe sacrifice a few players tonight, ready them up for next week? We'll just have to see what team sheet he sends out. But yeah, I think no matter what team he puts out at Arsenal, they've got a hell of a talent on the bench and on the field at all times. So yeah, Arsenal win tonight for me.
I'm not looking past that either, to be honest with him. That's no disrespect to Palace, but history comes into it, doesn't it? Games and runs, like I said, they've only beaten the once in 31 years there. But yeah, I'm with you on it. I think I'm gonna go 2-0 Arsenal this evening. You've gone 3-1, of course. Again, we're nearly closing out on the Premier League season as well, Brady, and I just think they've picked up too many draws. They really have, haven't they? That is what's done them. I'm not taking away from Liverpool. Again, Liverpool, I don't think they had their best performance on the weekend against Leicester, but they've come out of it with a win. They've won 1-0. I think there's a lot of Liverpool fans moaning about it. They've won the game. It doesn't matter, does it? If you're playing, if you're not playing particularly well and you come out of it and you've won the game, I think people are too critical sometimes. It's how that league is, isn't it, Brady?
Yeah. I mean, at this point in the season, Leicester have got nothing to lose, literally. They already knew that there was the next couple of games was going to see them go down. So they're the teams that have got nothing to lose or nothing to play for can be the toughest teams that you play against. So if you're playing Newcastle against us on the weekend, both going for top four, that was guaranteed to be an open game. Where if you're playing a team like Leicester, who are going to throw everything at it to give the fans something to cheer about for once, you're going to get a tough game like Liverpool did against them. And to get a 1-0 at this stage of the season, to push you that bit closer to the title, why complain about it? You've come out with a win. You've come out with hardly any injuries. Yeah, a lot of them that I've seen have complained about who scored. Doesn't matter who scored. You've got the win. You've got the 3 points. That's one hand on the title.
It beggars belief sometimes, you know. And when Salah's been copping for it as well, he's had nearly 60 goal involvements over the season. You're lucky if 2 or 3 players combined put that total in you. They've got to be top end players, haven't they? But it's the majority of fans are happy. I'm not disputing that, but you get I think people do it to get a reaction.
I saw a thing on TalkSport last night, and it was after the Villa game, and a so-called Villa fan was on there, and he was slagging off Ollie Watkins for what he said on the weekend. That he was fuming that he'd been left out, and that he was banging on the manager's door. And this fan was going on, get rid of him, all this. He's not a Villa player. He just cares about being a big player, blah, blah. No, he's a player who's passionate, who wants to play. If he wasn't banging on Emery's door, I'd be wondering why. But the fact that he's banging on it, he's saying that he's fuming that he's not getting the games, it just shows that he's passionate and he wants to play. So, if you like the whole Trent thing, is he staying? Is he going? If he's going, blah, he's destroyed his own legacy. Just enjoy what you've got left of him. If he wants to go, let him go. You can't stop anything by slagging him off. He doesn't care. He's left his legacy, because even when he's gone, these ones that have been slagging him off, they're still going to be talking about him, about all his goal involvements over the years, all the goals he's picked up, the performances he's put in. These youngsters are going to look at how he performed for Liverpool and base their gameplay on him. So he's still left a legacy, whether they like it or not. He's still left a legacy.
100%, mate. It's just crazy. People do it for reaction, as I said earlier. Brady, obviously your game is Saturday evening, so we're gonna looking at the order there. Of course, they've got Forest, Man City on that side, but we'll go back to Palace and yourselves ahead of Saturday. What do you think about the semi-finals being at Wembley? Now, I know that's been a thing for years, and I know it's a financial thing. They can, fill 90,000 seats and all the rest of it. But just before we go into it, how do you feel? I'm very much of the old school, where they take it on the road, the 2 semi-finals, and the final wasn't at Wembley. I know it's a financial thing, but what are your thoughts on both semi-finals being at Wembley? I know that's been the case for years, though.
I mean, I've always been same as you. The semis should always be played in a neutral venue. I think Wembley should just be for the final. That's it. I think the semi-finals should be played at a neutral venue that's close enough for both fans to get to. Because you look at it, the Villa fans have got to travel from Birmingham to London. The Palace fans have just got to hop on a train for like 20 minutes down the road. I just don't think, and like the City fans and the Forest fans as well, it's a little bit further for the City fans, but still, I just don't understand why they think it makes more sense. I know it's about the money and everything, but for these fans, that it might be a once in a lifetime thing for some fans, and having to travel hundreds of miles to go down to see a semi-final cup game when it could be like Forest City could have been played in Villa Park, like they used to back in the day. They pick a venue that was neutral, that was sort of central to everyone, and play it there. And I just think they should do that, because it brings more fans into it. Because a lot of the time they struggle to sell the tickets for Wembley. Because a few years ago, I know somebody who went to one of the finals, and there were people stood outside trying to sell tickets for cheaper just to fill it up, because they barely sold enough tickets to make it look full. So the FA were literally sending people out with tickets, saying, go sell them. Go sell them for cheaper, get people in the door. makes it look like there's more people in there.
Mm.
And it's just all about money. They overspent on Wembley and they realised it, and they're just trying everything to get the money back. I mean, they could have played it in the Principality, or the Millennium Stadium in Cardiff. They could have played both of them in there. It's a completely neutral venue for everyone. Play it in there. Final in Wembley. But I know some people are saying, well, the semi-finals and the final should all be in Wembley. Everybody has their own opinion. The FA, they do what they want. It's all about money. So it's never going to change.
Say it, isn't it? Again, initially it was like, we've got to pay Wembley off, so this is why we're doing it. This is why England have played X amount of games and all that. And sometimes they do move the internationals around, but it's very rare. It's very rare that it happens now, doesn't it? They have done it, but to me, it should be like you say, neutral grounds. If United aren't in it, you've got Old Trafford. If you want to take it up north, you got Newcastle. St James's Park and stuff like that. But just previewing the games, Braids. Will Ollie Watkins start this game on Saturday evening? What do you think? What way will
think
Emery
he will.
go with it?
I think Ollie Watkins will start on Saturday. I think for what he's done and the performances he's put in when he's come on and earlier on in the season, I think he deserves to start. I think Rashford, he offers you something different to what Ollie does. A lot of people say he's an all-round number 9. Rashford's not. He's better coming in from the left. Ollie's better playing up top by himself because he can hold the ball up, he can run the channels. I think maybe start Rashford out on the left, Ollie Watkins up top.
I'd be surprised if he doesn't start him because that's what people are clamouring for, aren't they? And again, it's going to be huge. This, and then Palace, Palace play tonight. Of course, it will be interesting to see who he rests. It depends what Glasner wants to do, really, doesn't it? Because they've only got Thursday, Friday to get sorted for it, really, haven't they? They're going to play tonight. I think he'll make changes. They're pretty comfortable, towards the top of the bottom half, aren't they? Domestically.
Yeah, they can't get relegated. They can't. I don't think they can squeeze into the European places, or it'd be a hell of a push to get into the European places. So he may rest a few for the game tonight and go for a push on Saturday because it's the only way they're going to get European football. So it just all depends on the team sheet that he puts out tonight.
Do you feel it'll be tight, this game? I think it'll be tight. Yeah. I think it'll be very, very tight. I've got the odd goal in this one. I think you guys just. I think you just got a little bit more. You got more in the way of quality in terms of the bench as well. That's not a knock on Palace. Sarr, we've spoken about Sarr. He's been really good. You look at the players that have gone over the last couple of years. He's lost Sahar. Yeah. Elise's in Germany now at Bayern. To be fair, for them to be where they are at the moment, and they've had good form prior to the last 2 or 3 games. I don't think they've done particularly bad because he has lost top end players, hasn't he, Glasner?
Yeah, and I think this Saturday, personally, I think a few of them are going to put themselves in the shop window. They're going to have to put a performance in because there's a few players that I think a lot of people are going to be sniffing around. I think a few teams are going to be looking at him. Mark Gahey, another one that I think could end up leaving next summer this time.
Munoz. Yeah. He's had a fantastic season. Yeah. Attacking wise, the amount of assists, he's had the odd goals here and there as well. He's been. Yeah. I think he'll be getting looked at again. Just to go on to somebody else who's been linked heavily as well, Kirkaz of Bournemouth. There's about 5 clubs in, apparently, I was reading today. But yeah, Munoz, Munoz there could be a lot of potential suitors for him, couldn't there? I know they're going to want to keep hold of him, but he's been a standout, hasn't he?
Yeah. I mean, we all know if somebody comes in with a high enough bid, they're going to accept it. Palace, unfortunately, have always been a buy to sell or a raise to sell team. They always have been, because they've never had the funds really behind them to hold on to their top talent. And it's quite unfortunate because Palace, they've always had those few good players, but then have lost them because somebody's come in with a big bid. I mean, Villa have always been the same, but now Villa are at that stage where we can turn around and say, well, we don't want to sell them. We don't need to sell them. Apart from the whole PSR thing last season. But now, with the money that we've got coming in through the Champions League, through the cup runs, through where we're going to end up finishing in the league, we're stable. And until Palace get to a similar point where they're challenging for Europe constantly, instead of just being the mid-table team, they're going to lose a lot of players, which is why I think a lot of players are going to put themselves in the shop window. Especially with, I think, Eze, they've got like United, Villa, Newcastle, a couple of others all looking at him. Same with Mark Gahey and a few of the others. They've got a lot of top teams from around Europe looking at them. So I think with the performance that they're going to try and put in on the weekend, I think we might just have that a little bit too much for them. So I've gone 2-1 with this one.
I'm thinking the same, mate. I tried to go for a different score, but when we were saying it's going to be tight, I'm on the 2-1. I'm on a 2-1 to you, lads. But I think it'll be very close. I do. I really do. Palace can play. We know what you guys can do. But yeah, I just think you're gonna have a little bit too much for them. Forest versus City. So third against fourth, of course, in Premier League terms. Again, City are going to need something in the trophy cabinet. So he's going to be going full tilt for this one. And again, for any other club, the FA Cup, barring the top three, probably, who we essentially think of as the top three, the clubs want the FA Cup, don't they? Pep is so accustomed to winning the big one, and that he's had the Champions League. They actually need this FA Cup, and I can't believe I'm saying that. They need it. They need something in the trophy cabinet, don't they?
Yeah, I think they'll put their strongest side out. They're gonna just go. They'll go for it. They need to win it. Not they want to win it. They need to win it. They need to win it because of such a poor season. And one thing or another, people say, "Oh, it's because they lost Rodri." It's not. It's one thing after another. I think teams realised how they played and have just outplayed them in a lot of the games this season. So I think they've lost 6 games at home. Well, there was a number of games that they've lost at home this season, which is more than they'd lost in like the last 3 seasons at home. And it's just a bit strange for how much City have dominated over the past 10 years to just seeing them doing United. Really, they've just sort of, and to say that they're only fighting for the FA Cup out of not fighting for the Premier League, not fighting for a Champions League, they need it. So they're going to throw everything at Forest for this.
I'll tell you what, though, Forest will come at them, won't they? There's no two ways about it. It wouldn't be shocking if Forest beat them. I think I've got City just again. I don't think there'll be much in it, but again, on Forest's best day, they can give them a game, and they could probably take it. But I've just got City coming through this one as well, mate. But again, very tight. I'll go 2-1 City again, but that is not knocking Forest because they've been brilliant. They've been good.
I've gone 3-2 City,
Wow.
but there's a big but.
Yeah.
I think this game is going to be quite open. It's going to go to extra time, and City win it in extra time.
He's going for 120 minutes. Is Brady on that one? So yeah, got to say, I think it's going to be you guys getting to an FA Cup final on that side of the draw, and we just think City to potentially City and Villa in May for the final at Wembley. And yeah, that's been our preview for that. Brady, I'm just going to pick up 2 games from Saturday. We've obviously got we've got shortened fixtures, of course, because 4 of the clubs are in the semi-finals of the FA Cup. I think because we were talking about the top 5, I'm going to go with Chelsea Everton at 12:30. To start us off, that's one I've selected. Again, Chelsea hit and miss a lot of the times. We do not travel well at Stamford Bridge. Our record is terrible, but I think we could potentially get a draw down there. But we do not travel there well, and we got battered 6-0 down there last year as well. But obviously Moisey's in charge now. But I'd take a draw, but I'd bite someone's hand off for a draw beforehand. What do you think with the 12:30 on Saturday, Chelsea Everton?
I think with the way that you guys played against City on the weekend, I could see you giving them a game and nicking it 2-1, to be honest. I really do think that Chelsea, yeah, like you said, they've been very hit and miss. And they're sort of doing the same as Forest. They seem to be dropping off. And I really think you guys could do it down there. I think, yeah, you got battered last season, but you're a completely different beast this season.
Different
Moyes in charge.
Yeah.
You're playing some good football. It seems like every player wants to play for him as well. And I really do think you could take it.
We had a host of chances against them. Didn't take them. I could tell what was coming though. You know, we had probably 5 or 6 decent chances in the second half. The one off the post from Tarky before he went off injured. Again, it just didn't happen for us. But you could kind of tell the way that game was going. I was worried. I was worried going into that latter portion. But again, he made the changes. The like 3 changes he made later on were too late in the day. I would have done it sooner. That was my only criticism. I love Moisey to bits, and it's been brilliant since he's come back. But I think those subs should have happened a lot sooner than they did. But again, I'm going a draw on this, mate. But Chelsea, they lost to Legia Warsaw. They obviously went through on aggregate anyway, didn't they? From the first, they had enough in it. Ipswich 2-2 against Ipswich at Stamford Bridge. Brentford a 0-0 away draw at Brentford. They beat Spurs at home on April 3rd, 1-0. And they went away to Fulham and won 2-1, which Craven Cottage is not an easy place to go. I will say that. So what would you say? What would you predict on that one?
I'd say 2-1. I just think Chelsea have got more to play for than you lot. No offense. You guys are playing.
None taken.
You guys are playing for league position because you're safe from relegation. You're not getting relegated. You're playing for position now.
It's holding that 13th spot because obviously Palace is 6 points clear on the same games. It's just it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. We're trying to keep where we are, but Wolves keep winning. But sorry, I jumped in there. Trying to consolidate the 13th.
Yeah, I think they've got more to play for than you guys have. So I think they're going to try and come out at you, and you'll just hit them on the break. So that's why I think you'll do it, because, like we said earlier, this stage of the season, when you're playing those teams that are in the bottom half of the table, especially ones that, like yourselves, are safe from relegation, because I think it's one more game and Ipswich are gone. So I think you're just playing for league position. Chelsea, they've still got a chance of top 5. And I think they're going to try and throw everything at you, thinking that they can nick something. I think you'll just get them on the break. So yeah, 2-1 to you guys.
Brady with a 2-1 Everton down at Stamford Bridge. I'm going to go 1-1. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. We need a striker. Now I understood with him resting Beto and bringing him on. Yeah. He played a lot of football, but the goals are dried up. I know he had chances in games. He's been unlucky in some respects, but the goals have dried up with Beto. Brozier, work rate, do not get me wrong. You know, he was going out wide, getting the ball at times against City, and Jai was then in the number 9 because Brozier was going out onto the wing. You know, he's going to have to get a striker because we still don't know what's going on with Calvert-Lewin. He's injured, but again, he's not signed a contract. Again, we need a lot of clubs need a 15, 20 goal a season striker. That's what a lot of the clubs need, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, another player that I feel that you guys are missing as well is Dwight McNeil. I just think his distribution for you guys, start of this season, last season, I thought he was probably one of your better distribution players. I think with him being injured for as long as he has, you've got the players there, but they're just not as good with the ball as what he can be. Because I mean, he gets you the assists, but he gets you those goals as well. I mean, Decore's been popping up with them now here and there, but nowhere near as many as you need from your midfield at this point. But I think with you being safe, a lot of players they're obviously playing for new contracts or playing to maybe put themselves in the window for somebody else because they've had the chat with the manager already. You just don't know.
I think we're balanced. We are balanced as well since he's come in, and they will attack. We had a go at City. Yeah. You know, there was lengthy periods there with no possession, which is we know exactly how Pep plays it. Again, I think there is balance with the defense and the attack. You know, Dyche, we didn't leak that many goals into Dyche, to his credit, actually, but he has added a bit of attacking to it, which was needed. It was needed because we were just either losing or drawing games. But yeah, a 2-1 for Brady, for Everton to win there. I'm going 1-1, and I'm just going to keep it on topic with teams chasing top 5 in Champions League qualification. Newcastle, Ipswich. Obviously, Newcastle off the back of a 4-1 loss to you boys, but prior to that, they beat Palace 5-0, and they beat Man United 4-1 as well before that. So before the 4-1 loss to you guys, you know, they were putting goals in. They've had a decent run. And prior to that as well, beating Leicester, Brentford and Liverpool in the Carabao Cup, of course. And Ipswich, a 4-0 loss to Arsenal last time out, of course. As we said earlier, a 2-2 draw against Chelsea. Playing for pride now, Ipswich. You know, just trying to get some points on the board. They haven't played that bad. Take the Arsenal defeat out of it, Brady. They've actually not. They hit a bit of form again, and they looked a bit like their old selves under Kieran McKenna.
Yeah, I don't. They're not fully down yet, are they? So they've still got that glimmer of hope. Yeah, it's the slightest glimmer of hope, but Newcastle, I think, are just going to be too strong for them. I think, yeah, Ipswich have had quite a few good games, apart from that battering against Arsenal, but I just think Newcastle are just going to dust themselves off from last weekend. They're just going to go again. And I've gone with 3-0 Newcastle in this one.
Wow. And saying that, they're very good at home, aren't they, as well? They've been brilliant at home this season. They really have. And but yeah,
I think Ipswich are going to have to go. They're just going to have to come out all guns blazing, and Newcastle will just play around them. I think they're just going to have too much for them.
I'm going to go with a 2-0 in that one, Braids. I think. Again, it's going to be down to the final day, isn't it? With this, who gets qualification? Do you think that, or do you think it could be sewn up with a game or two left? How do you think it'll go, in your opinion?
I mean, if you look at Villa's running for the next 4 games, apart from United and Tottenham, who don't come into it, I think we've got Bournemouth. I think it's Bournemouth and Brighton left, I think. And I think a lot of the teams are playing each other. So I think it could be done within a couple of games. Certain spots I think it's going to be down to the end of the season, last game. Others I think could be done and dusted, sealed within a few games. I think there's enough distance between Villa and Bournemouth where Villa can still just get into the Europa League and not look over their shoulder for the Conference League. I think there's enough for certain teams to have made it into Europe next season where they could wrap it up in the next couple of games.
Definitely.
I think the top 5 is going to be the one that's going to possibly go down to the end of the season. Because you've still got between Villa, Chelsea, Forest and City, there's only something like, is it 3 points? So it only takes one game to turn it around for any of those 4 teams, really. But you take it a game at a time.
Oh, this is it. It's going to be fascinating coming into May. Absolutely, a good friend of ours, friend for many years, Dan Hughes. City. What have you got to say about that, Brady?
Lucky.
Oh! Oh, it could be a City Villa final as well, which, oh my days, that's good. There'll be a lot riding on that, won't there, after last night? Definitely, which I can't see past that, actually. I think it is going to be yourselves, yours and Dan's sides in that final come May, and we're not far away at all with that. But yeah, you need something in that trophy cabinet, Dan. and it's the FA Cup of all things. Do you know what I mean? So accustomed to winning all the big stuff, as I said earlier. But Pep needs it. Pep needs the trophy, and he needs that Champions League as well. But I think they're coming on strong at the right time, City, to get the automatic spots. They've been scoring the goals as well, and they've hit form at the right time. And no Haaland as well.
No, I think I think it works out. He's back for, is it the second to last game of the season? So he'd be back for the last 2 games of the season and the FA Cup final. But we just get Tyrone Mings to have him in his pocket.
I bet Dan's got something in retort for that one. I might wait a couple of minutes because I've got to close out. The Sports Social Podcast Network, who look after us, I always say about this, 550 podcasts and counting. Any sport that you're into, I say all the time, rugby, golf, F1, you name it, tennis. There's going to be tennis podcasts on there as well if you're into that. Just the litany of sport on there. They're on the grow all the time. They look after us. If you're looking to list a podcast as well with them, I implore you to do so. You put your adverts into your audio and you don't pay to list your episodes because that can become costly. I say about it all the time. They sort all that out. So yeah, if you've got a podcast and you're not affiliated with somebody, please think about joining the Sports Social Podcast Network. They've been superb and you will get looked after, and your clips will get put up by them as well on their social platforms too. So yeah, the Sports Social Podcast Network, Europe's biggest sports podcast network. And Dan has put a comment in before we go. I'll read this one out, Brady. Let's see what he's got for you. Oh, I'll take a City versus Villa final, boys. Our trophy cabinet is full to the brim already, but we'll squeeze the FA Cup in there. Well, at least it's not as dusty as Everton's trophy cabinet, Dan. I'll say that definitely. But Brady, what have you got in retort for Dan there?
Well, we're watching the final together.
That's a good. Yeah, you should do that if you're both not going to Wembley. Yeah, I think you should meet up and watch the final together. Maybe in one of the old Colwyn pubs. Maybe like for old
Here's
times.
one for you, Stewie. What about if it is Villa City final? Do a full live stream for the whole game, all 4 of us.
You'll have to jump on together and do it. Oh my God.
You and Chris can jump on. You two can be the neutrals.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah, we'll have to have a think about that one, definitely. But yeah, all the best to Villa, all the best to City domestically, and obviously leading into the FA Cup, 2 huge semi-finals this weekend. And if you don't support either of those 4 clubs, just enjoy it as well as a neutral. It's always good, the FA Cup. I would say it's been a solid. It's been like the old days this year. The FA Cup, it got has a bit of bad press, doesn't it? Oh, it's not the same. But I think, we've had some shocks and some giant killings along the way, haven't we? Obviously, Plymouth turning Liverpool over. Although the Liverpool fans will say that they had the depleted team for the game before I get shot down. But it's had that nostalgia. The FA Cup's definitely had the nostalgia back this year for sure. And 4 fantastic clubs in the semis. Let's go. Loser buys the beer, as Dan says. There you have it.
It's all right, Dan. I'll drink you under the table and you got to buy mine.
Absolutely. So yeah, this has been episode 52 of Football Then and Now, a modern look at football with modern stories, the latest news. We've predicted the games obviously over the weekend as well. We will come back with a bit of nostalgia next week. I think I'm gonna have a look and see what we can do. And I think Chris may be back next week as well. So on this day in football history, will return for episode 53. Brady, thank you so much for coming on, man. Appreciate it. All the best on Saturday, and all the best trying to get back in the Champions League again, because all the Villa fans want that. Cheers, mate.
No worries. I'll be back before the end of the season.
Yeah, you'll be back on. No worries. Cheers, guys.
Football Then and Now, a fun look at football nostalgia and the modern game intertwined. Join us.